Okay, hey, what's up, everybody? This is Kalan from White Glove Models. I totally screwed up. So, yeah, I'm a doorknob today, and it's because I have not had much sleep. Uh, I thought I was doing really good, but apparently I wasn't live. So now I'm live, and I just did my entire opening bit and and was talking to you guys, and you weren't even listening because I am an idiot and I didn't hit live. So, well, welcome everybody. Sorry I am late, 7 minutes late, and I truly apologize for that. This has been a very, very crazy day for me and morning. So, I had already gone through all the chat, but since you guys didn't get to see that or any of that, we're going to go back and hit that up. But basically, yeah, I was trying to get some stuff ready for the intro to the live stream, and I wasn't able to quite get that done. So, anyways, just a quick nod to what happened last week. If you guys missed it on my channel, on Model Making Truckers channel, Lewis, we did a live stream of our buddy build for the HMS Victory, and we're also doing it for the HobbyLink International tall ships group build. So it's kind of a twofer, and we got that started on Wednesday. We kind of cheated a little bit and got a little bit of a head start before the live stream, but we did manage to get quite a bit done actually between the two of us. And Lewis has some really awesome things that he's doing to his, and I am trying to do what I can to make the Revell 1225 Victory. If you're not familiar with it, it's not the greatest kit in the world. And originally, the two of us were thinking, okay, we're just going to build it out of box. And then when we saw it, I think we both kind of had the same mindset of this needs some work. So that's what we're doing, trying to clean it up, make it look better, and add our own personal flair to them. So, anyways, let's head over to chat and see what everybody's up to. Lewis, Model Making Trucker, saying good evening. Good evening to you too. And Mark's in. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Evening, everyone. And I was saying, good day, sir, to Lewis. Hope your day went well. And Lewis was saying, evening to Mark. And Lewis was saying, well, I survived just. Kaylin, how's your morning going? It's been interesting. So one thing that I pulled the Land Rover back out and was working on that a little bit this morning, getting it painted. One thing we're going to do today on the live stream when we pop over to the Workbench is cleaning up the Posh airbrush and putting it back together so I can get it over to the paint booth and start painting some clear coat on these parts, as well as I have a ton of primer work I need to do on a few other models, as well as some touch up on other ones that are in progress. So another thing that I was doing today is my wife had all of these Citadel paints. She had probably about 30 of them, 30 or 40 from back in the day when she used to do Warhammer painting and stuff like that. Well, they're very old and dried up. And so I tried to revive some of them out of all the bottles that she had. Only 3 were able to come back to life. So what I've been doing this morning is just kind of cleaning those up, emptying out the ones that are dried up and not reviving. And I'm going to try to reuse those bottles because I really like those bottles. So anyways, that's what I've been up to this morning. And Mark was saying hi to Lewis and hello to me. And Buck is in the house. Top, how's it going? Saying hi all. And Bergdis is in the house. Hi, Bergdis. How are you? Hope everything is going well. She's saying evening all. I know you've been busy working on your builds, and I always love seeing your videos as they come out. I wish I could watch them as they come out, but sometimes it takes me a few days or even weeks sometimes to go back and watch certain people's videos just because there's a lot going on. But I'm almost caught up, I think, with some of yours. So I always love your work. You do outstanding builds, and I like your take on everything. So it's always good to see you, Burgess. Thanks for popping in. And Mark Schumann's in the house, Model Shop. Hello, all. How's it going? And Top was saying maybe Kalan really meant till 10 p.m. Yeah, so I posted on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, on the Hobby Link International Discord, as well as the forum, 10 p.m. because I am a doorknob. I was more tired than I thought. I didn't get any sleep last night because I was working on getting the next video for the Revell Land Rover up onto my Patreon site, as well as the Buy Me a Coffee site, as a pre-release for all the patrons. Well, the one patron that we have, Ian Campbell, thank you so much for being a patron, Ian. You are such a huge support to the channel. So if you want a chance to see that ahead of time, as well as all the behind the scenes work that I'm doing on the Bismarck, and eventually a few other builds are going to be on there as well, like the Ecto 1. We're going to be doing some upgrades to that, and those will only be available on Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. And Bergus was saying probably, yeah. Sorry, I apologize for making you guys wait. Mark was saying so one needs to teach that young man time, indeed. And everybody trying to get my attention. No, I'm not dead. I'm just special today. Could be both, Top. Very true. Dirk was saying, how rude could you be when you're late to your own show? D, hi, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in, and I am doing well, other than being late to my own live stream. I was actually live streaming to nobody because I forgot to hit go live for some reason. And Top, better than that one live stream that I did that was supposed to be just a video. And Bergus was saying alive does not mean live. Very true. D was saying hi to Lewis. And Top was saying you don't look like a doorknob. And Lewis was saying, hey, D, how are you doing, mate? So thank you, everybody, for popping in and joining me. Like I said, we've got a few different things on the workbench right now, the Land Rover. And then I really need to get my airbrush. So I have the Posh Talon airbrush, and I haven't really done an update on it. And one of the things that I did that was really stupid over New Year's, I thought I was going to be coming home New Year's Eve and get back to painting right away, and I didn't. And I left my paint in the airbrush, which is a huge no-no. But then I forgot about it. So instead of coming back that night and cleaning it out, or continuing on painting, I ended up going over to my in-laws, and I didn't clean it out. So needless to say, it's been soaking in alcohol for a while, which might be bad for it. But overall, for those of you that have asked about the Posh Talon, since I am new to airbrushing, it has taken me some time to kind of get used to it. And I do have to say, I actually really like it. It's actually been a really good airbrush, especially when you mix everything correctly and are using anything other than basically Vallejo primer. It does not like Vallejo primer. It gums it up really fast. I've been using Stynylrez. Not a big fan of that either. The only one I really do like is the Stynylrez dull pink, because it flows really nicely, and I can actually spray that on with a 0.3 needle, believe it or not. Lewis was saying, did someone forget to go live? Yes, sir, I did. Better late than never, says D. And Burgess was saying, worked on the Porsche 917 this weekend. The engine is massive. That's awesome. Yeah, it's one of those kits that I contemplated getting, but from now on, I think I'm just going to wait to see the part works through before I maybe jump into another one. but overall, the quality of that kit, from my understanding, is just absolutely insane. And it's way better than some of the other part works out there. So that's really cool. And it is a very beautiful model kit so far from what I've seen. And that engine is definitely massive. D is saying to Lewis, I'm good. How's you? And Dirk was saying, hi, everybody, in my best Dr. Nick's voice. Good thing Kenny is not here. You would be banished. And Mark was saying, hey there, Dirk. And Top was saying, hi, Dr. Dirk. Lewis saying, I'm dying, mate. Nat shared her cold with me, and it's kicking my arse. Yeah, that sucks. And of course, you got it right when you had to go back to work, too. Dirk was saying hi to Shu and Buckster. I do mean off red, Lewis. Definitely off red. It's a dull off red, but it actually it does a really nice job because it's a very fine. The Stynylrez is a very fine primer, and I really like how it flows through the Posh Talon. Lewis saying hello to everyone else. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe. And Dirk, hey Lewis, at least he shows up for his live events, unlike some others you may know. And Mark was saying to Lewis, sharing is caring. And Top was saying, I keep trying to give my cold to Andrea. She refuses to accept it, so it keeps coming back to me. Lewis say, certainly is Shu with the meds I'm on. My immune system is very low. And D was saying to Lewis, what is wrong with pink? And Top was saying, wait, has someone been missing all the scheduled live streams since December? Yeah, wonder who that is. Not going to name any names, but they're associated with HLI. And we're all very eager for him to get back to his live streams, just because they're always a lot of fun. So anyways, let's head down to the workbench. I'll kind of keep an eye on chat as we go along, and I'll try my best to keep you guys as entertained as possible. So let me switch cameras here. And for some reason, it seems kind of zoomed out, but I'm going to do the best. So I got a lot of the paint work done. I don't know if you can see that very well. So I got all the little accents painted up, and now these just need to be clear coated, and then I'll put the tires on. So I'm going to go ahead and move all of this stuff out of the way, because right now, oh yeah, and a sneak peek for those of you that are watching. So here is, let's see if it'll focus. There is the wiring in the distributor for the Land Rover. I mean, it's not the best job in the world, and I'm hoping it's at least somewhat accurate, but took a little bit of time to do, and I'm still really cheesed that there is no alternator, but Matthew over at Model Car Art on his YouTube channel, Matthew has been 3D printing distributors, because he has the same issue that I do with a lot of kits. They don't provide it. And so I might ask him if he could maybe print me one, and I'll pick it up. So anyways, we'll get the Land Rover out of the way here. And so I've got my parts in here soaking. And what I like to do is I'll just use, so I got this little tray here for $1 at the Dollar Tree. And this thing is awesome for when you're cleaning your airbrush, just because I always end up, usually when I'm at the spray booth and I'm cleaning it, I get water and stuff everywhere, but I already deep cleaned the actual airbrush here, and my cup doesn't come off. So on the Posh Talon, the cup doesn't come off. It's permanently attached, which is kind of a downfall in a way, but it's not too bad because um, it's relatively easy to clean. And I always tend to tear it all the way down. The only thing is, see that kind of copper color? Used to be this color. So from cleaning it or whatnot, I don't know. That's kind of worn off, and I hope it doesn't ruin the overall integrity of the airbrush. So far, it doesn't seem to have damaged anything, but that was a little frustrating, just to be honest. And I I don't know if it's because maybe I'm a little too aggressive with the brushes or with the cleaners that I use. But these parts have been basically sitting in here for a couple. See, I had forgotten. So when I came back to my airbrush about a month ago, it was all gummed up and everything, and it was a colossal mess. So I had everything. I did kind of a quick clean, and then I've had everything soaking for a little while, which I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I hope I didn't ruin anything. So far, it doesn't look like anything's rusted, which was my biggest concern. So you could, let's see. Dirk was saying, I remember when there was a live stream almost every night. Now, nothing. That's pretty much true. It feels that way. And Burgess was saying, pink is good. So good that I dye my hair pink. Yes. And it looks awesome. Lewis saying, D, my little girl has everything off red. If I ask her what color I should paint something, it's always pink. Top's working on the Black Pearl today. And the distributor wires are the wrong color. I don't care. They're going to get painted most likely, probably a either black or red. Bergdus is saying, fun fact: the 917KH has 2 alternators. That I do believe, and know for a fact it actually comes with them, which is really cool. And Top is saying, I bet I can get the cup off the airbrush. Yeah, and you'll never get it back on. I remember, Mark, you saying you use the sonic cleaner for your airbrushes. That would be really cool. Lewis just bought one. Is it safe to use on all the parts of an airbrush? And Dee was saying to Lewis, at least do one build for her in pink, then you might not get asked again. Very true. So I need to grab a couple of things out of my little drawer here. So I use these. I get these at the dollar store too. They're those little dental pick thingies, and they work great. And then I always have alcohol prep pads just because they work wonders when you need them. And then here's my other little cheap dental pick that I use as well. And then this one actually came with my kit. And it's already got the tip on it's bent. This is kind of cheap, but it works good when you're cleaning out the little nozzle. And then I have the pointy cosmetic cotton swabs, and then I just have some regular ones here too that I use. And that's basically everything I need. I don't really remember which needle I have in. I can take a look here. I have the 0.3 needle in right now, and I'm going to want to, I think for clear coating, I'm going to keep the 0.3. Unless somebody recommends for clear coating using a different needle, because again, I'm still relatively new to the airbrushing game, and it's just a lot of trial and error right now is, kind of the main thing that I've been having to do from watching different people's videos and just kind of learning that way. But what's weird is, to me, this doesn't look like the 0.3 needle. This looks like the 0.6. I could be wrong though. Oh, nope, it's got 3 notches on it, so it's the 0.3. So that's one thing that I've noticed with the Posh. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's 3 notches on that. And that's how you identify your needle usually, is how many notches are on the back end of the needle. And I don't know if other companies do that. I'm assuming they would, just to keep things, easy to understand. And here is my little tip. So I'm going to try cleaning all the gunk off of this. Really hope I didn't clog this up or ruin it. And I probably should have done all of this a lot sooner, but I didn't feel like it was going to hurt these parts, keeping them in the alcohol. It's kind of a 50-50 alcohol water based mixture, and I use it all the time. A lot of people use Windex, which I've heard is actually probably better, because I know on some airbrushes alcohol can actually damage parts of the airbrush. So it's the nice thing about this Posh Talon, or Poshe, however you want to say it, is that I think it's relatively pretty tough. It's it can handle a newbie like myself, and there's not a terrible amount of risk of damaging it, hopefully. I mean, I know you can easily screw it up, but they also spraygunner.com, they have loads and loads of parts for these Posh airbrushes, as well as the what are they? The Grex. They have Grex, and they also carry other brands like Harder and Steinbeck, I think is how you say it, and a few other different brands. And they always have parts for them, which is really awesome. So let's see. Kind of want to do a little bit more with the brush inside. I feel like they're actually, because I did think I did a really good job of cleaning it when I first opened it up, because I don't see a lot of residual paint or gunk in there, which is good for me. I was really, really upset that I had done that, because that's like the number one no-no, is don't leave paint, especially over it was almost a month before I discovered it. And thankfully, the paint was still kind of wet inside. I don't know how. Don't ask me how. But it didn't seem like it had done too much damage, thankfully. And I'll get to chat here in just 1 second. I'm going to kind of, I want to see if I'm getting anything when I stick that in there. So far, no. And then the other, I need my towel. Where's it? So I always like to keep a towel handy, because my hands get loads and loads of water or alcohol on them, depending on what I'm doing. And I like to take, for the nozzle, I'll take, I'm sure all of you do this too, but I'm just kind of showing you what I do, because that's what I'm doing right now is my live stream, and I'm cleaning out my airbrush. So I'll stick that in there and just kind of twist it around just to make sure it comes out clean. And I don't see anything, so that makes me feel good. And I'm going to run over to chat real quick, see what everybody's up to. And Lewis was saying about the ultrasonic cleaner. Thank you. I'll give it a go this week. This weekend, I have a cheap airbrush I can try first before I throw my Iwata in it. Yeah, dude, I'm so jealous of your, like, I want to get an Iwata, but I don't know. Like, I think if I'm going to spend any money, I've heard the Grex are really good too. Bergus was saying, oh, I forgot to share some tiny news here. I got an apartment. Nice. That's awesome to hear, Bergus. Hopefully it's not too far of a move. But that's wonderful. I'm so glad that you got a place. Hopefully it'll have space for your for like a modeling area that you can go and just dedicate to building your models. It's sorry, I just got distracted by I need to go out and fertilize my lawn because we're actually supposed to get a little precipitation today. But technically here in California, we are already in a drought. Even with precipitation, this is the first time it's snowing right now, believe it or not. And we, even with this is the first time we've had any precipitation in a couple of months, and so we're already in a drought. But it's barely snowing. It's just like little tiny dusting of flakes coming down. But that just reminded me I have to go out and fertilize, and I might end up having to turn on my sprinkler system just to get that fertilizer worked in. Anyways, squirrel moment. Good news, Bergdus. Congrats, Bergdus. Hope the move goes well for you. Yeah, and hopefully you've got people to help you move. So Mark was saying, I use a bit of soap when I clean my airbrush or your brush in the ultrasonic cleaner. I've heard that actually does really well. Burgess was saying, thanks, moving all my crap will be something. Looking forward to setting up a new cave. Awesome, awesome. Top was saying, I heard Windex can hurt your airbrush internals. Windex can? See, I haven't heard that. I've heard more so of the alcohol damaging parts than the Windex, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's funny because it's like everybody has their own opinion, and so you never really know who to listen to. And then there's people like Kenny who say just use what's recommended by the manufacturer. And in a way, I totally understand that. But a lot of us are always trying to find a cheaper way to go about doing stuff. Do the Death Star in pink. Yeah. Lewis is saying I could tie some string to bottom and fill it with helium, and hey presto, a balloon. And Mark was saying I have always used it and it never had any issues. Nice. Jay's in the house. Hiya, Jay. How's it going? Jay says, hiya, Kalan. Hope everyone is okay and well. Thank you so much. Yes, indeed. Thank you for popping by. And I know you're moving here pretty soon, too. So you've got a lot of models to move. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing your new space when you get it. Lewis saying next airbrush I'm getting will be a Sotar 2020. Never actually heard of that. Just jumped. There we go. Shu was saying all my airbrushes are Badger. Never had any issues with them. I've heard good, a lot of good. I'm not really familiar with their line of brushes though. Top was saying California has been in a drought for 15 years. we thought we were going to get out of it, and that kind of backfired real fast after last year. So last year was um, practically half the state burned down. She was saying I use ammonia-free gloss clear, so maybe that is why I've not had any issues. Nice. Jay's channel, good evening, sir. And Windex is fine in the airbrush. Lewis saying, if you need any volunteers for moving Burgess, I don't know. She's a lot closer to you than I think I am. So same town, so not too far. I did make sure I had a spare room for a cave. That's awesome. And yeah, I got plenty of help around. That's good. So good to hear that, Burgess. And Jay was saying hi to D. And Burgess was saying, do you have a passport and a plane ticket? Because I'm in Iceland. Indeed. I've always wanted to go to Iceland, though. And I don't know, like, I think everybody's image of Iceland is just pure beauty and not very many people. But I assume the towns, the small towns, are probably more like heavily populated just because it's, I don't know what I'm saying, but I guess like the towns that they would be very heavily populated. And Lewis or Kenny's in the house. Hey Kenny, how's it going? Hobby Link International. Hey everybody, and we were just talking about you, Kenny. So your ears must have been burning. Thanks for joining the live stream. So let's see. Everybody's saying hi to Kenny, and Dee was saying, loved Iceland, can't wait to get back. That would be really cool. And Kenny's saying hi to Shu. So yeah, Kenny, I was just saying, because we were debating on different things that you can use in your to clean your airbrush, and I know like you're one of those firm believers in using the products recommended, and I do feel and understand that. But one thing that I've been using on my Posh Talon is a 50-50 mixture of alcohol and water. And I personally feel like maybe it could have damaged some of the interior stuff on it. I just don't know. And then I know a lot of people do use Windex and things like that. So yeah, that was just kind of a little conversation we were having about those. Here, I'm going to flip this off and go over here. And Burgess is saying, we are the opposite of drought. We've been covered in snow for weeks, and tonight is second red warning this month. Wow. Yeah, it's funny because I've always heard Iceland, it gets less snow than Greenland. Is that true? And then Greenland is usually covered in snow and ice the majority of the year, whereas in Iceland, you guys do have a summer. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I remember hearing. But I just heard it's just so beautiful there, and just miles and miles of just mountains and beautiful terrain. Top was saying, "Isn't that the guy the live streams?" Yeah, we were making fun of your live streams too, Kenny. All the live streams you've been having lately. And she was saying, I had a good time in Iceland and froze my ass off in Greenland. Kenny's saying hi to Top. And Lewis saying it's cold in Iceland indeed. Kenny's saying alcohol, I run through the brush. I never put anything with an ammonia base through your brush. And so that's where Shu probably has it, because does the Windex that you use not have ammonia in it? Because I remember hearing Kenny say that before. And Lewis was saying, hi, Kenny Connor's got the next live stream planned already. And Kenny's saying, hi, hey, Lewis, can't wait to see it. Yep, the Verizon still is nowhere to be found. All right, so let's head back to the bench and carry on with the cleaning of the Posh Talon. One of my favorite parts to clean is usually the little crown cap here, just because it's super easy. And I think I got lucky because the paint, I think what happened was the top of the paint sealed off. And so what was left inside the cup uh, actually stayed wet because there was that top skin on top of the paint in the cup. And so that might have saved me. So I do feel very stupid for having have done that and forgetting that I had paint in my brush. But from now on, I think, even if I'm going to be heading out for 5 minutes, I'll try to make sure that I clean the brush out because sometimes things happen, life happens, and you forget to get back to it. And I just don't want to ever have to deal with this again. So far, I think, though, I dodged a bullet. Always got to remember, too, to stay on screen. I don't usually clean over here. I usually clean over at the spray booth, but figured this would be kind of a something I need to do, and I can do it on a live stream fairly easily and kind of share with you my experience with the Posh Talon, because I know a lot of people have been asking me actually in my original video when I opened this up and put everything together. And the air compressor that came with this is a Posh as well. It was a total package. So it came with the air compressor, the hoses, and the airbrush, the Posh Talon airbrush. And I think I don't even remember how much it was. It was like $230 or something on Amazon, which seemed like a lot, but when you actually went and priced all the parts individually, it was a pretty good deal. And so far, getting all that whole learning curve out of the way was I think the big thing that I needed to go through, and I managed to kind of figure out pressures a little better. Because originally, I think with the Stynylrez primer, I was trying to shoot it at like 25 psi, and on the bottle, it actually recommends to bump it up to 35 psi, between 30 and 35, and use a nothing smaller than a 0.5 needle. And this only came with a 0.2 needle. So I hopped on to spraygunner.com, did some research, and the guys over there are so very helpful. If you haven't used Spray Gunner before, they know their stuff, and they know all of their products and everything that goes along with that. So very, very pleased with Spray Gunner and the help and support that they've given me, working as a newbie with an airbrush. So they also sent me, I won over Christmas, I won the Createx Wicked Color Pack, and I still haven't used it yet. I think I'm going to try using it here pretty soon on one of these models and just see how that flows through the airbrush. They sent me their thinner for it as well, and so I'm pretty excited to give that a try. Then just gonna clean my hands off here. That's one thing. Okay, so I did have a problem with it the last time I was using this, and I was getting blowback. So basically, so this is the back end of the airbrush, that is kind of back here and here. And I was actually somehow, and I thought I had everything on tight and good and sealed, but I was getting blowback and paint was coming all the way back here, which never happened before. And I still am not fully understanding on why that happened. I'm feeling like this part wasn't tight, and maybe that's what was going on, but I don't know. So I'm eager to kind of get paint flowing through this again, and maybe see if it was just not tight enough or whatnot. And one thing I've been doing is also putting bees, kind of the Burt's Bees. I'll rub that on the thread to maybe give it a little better seal. And a lot of people have recommended doing that. So I tried it and I thought I had a good seal on it. And maybe hopefully that's the only issue. And I didn't ruin something inside the actual airbrush, because I have never taken it out, but all the way inside down there's another, you have to use a little tiny screwdriver to get, there's this little guide in there that guides the needle, and there's supposedly like a little O-ring or bushing on it. And so I hope that that's not screwed up. I did buy some spare parts for it. So I have a little tray here with a few different parts in it. And I have some extra, they're here in my little toolbox. Because what I did was I went on Spray Gunner and I got a 0.6 and a 0.3, or no, the 0.2. And a couple of different tips, and then some extra O-rings for it. And that's the one thing that I really would like to get. And a lot of people have it, but it's a quick disconnect that goes on here. And the problem is I always see the one end, like the male end, but I never see the end that connects to or it's either the female end or the male, I don't know. Anyways, it's one end, and I never find the one that actually attaches to the airbrush. So I'd like to find a hose kit that has all of that with it, so that I can just have a quick disconnect on this, because I can see the benefit of having that. So I'm gonna run this through here. And I don't see any paint coming off, and the last paint to go through this was black paint. So I do think I did get very lucky. The spring doesn't really need any cleaning. This was the part I was worried about rusting from sitting in here for so long. But it looks like it did not rust, which is very, very good. And this looks relatively clean. So this is my trigger. And then the cap right here is another fun one, because this tends to get a lot of stuff in it for some reason. And it's not the easiest thing to clean. I don't have the right brushes for it, I don't think. The main thing, I think, is just kind of keeping that tip clean and clear of any debris or dried paint, because I think that's where you're going to get the majority of your issues. And it's funny because, before I started airbrushing, uh, I watched thousands and thousands of videos on it, and I still feel like I don't know anything. I mean, you kind of glean a little bit here and there from what people say and recommend, but unless you're actually practicing it, you tend to forget a lot as well. So go ahead and make sure this is all clean here. And that's another thing I need to get, which I haven't yet, is needle juice, because I've heard that needle juice does a really good job of kind of keeping everything lubricated. And that's one thing I haven't really done. I do use, however, so you'll see before I put all this back together, I'll use the Medea airbrush cleaner. And I think that has kind of it's almost like a soap, I feel, to it. And I don't know, I'm probably dead wrong, but I feel like that kind of lubricates it a little bit, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. It just makes me feel better by getting everything kind of soaked with the Medea cleaner. And Lewis has got to go. Take care, Lewis. Thanks so much for popping in, and have a good evening and a good day at work tomorrow. I'll talk to you soon. So let's head up to chat. Mary, 1970s in. Hi, Mary. How are you? Wayne Saunders is also in. Hi, Wayne. How's it going? Remember me saying a while ago, I said, why is Ravel Bismarck a lot longer 1700 than a trumpeter Bismarck 1700? Yes. Did you ever figure that out? It's So Burgess was saying 2/3 of the population in Iceland lives in the southwest corner of the island. Yes, Greenland is huge glacier, and we have decent summers for a few days a year. Mary's saying hi to everybody. Thanks for joining us, Mary. Good to see you. And everybody's saying hi to Mary. And then Burgess saying Iceland only has a population of around 370,000 people, not including sheep. That's pretty small. And Top says he loves his Posh Talon. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. Badger is having a 2-for-1 sale on their site today. Yeah, I can't. I just bought a bunch of models. I can't afford to buy. Yeah, don't tell my wife, by the way. And the SR71 will be here on Wednesday, and I'm on the fence about it now. I've heard the fit is terrible, but it's going to sit in the stash for a while before I build it anyway. 2-for-1. Be right back. I'll have to check out Badger's site though and just see what they've got going on. 2020, we had 40,000 sheep, so more sheep than people. Createx is a great paint. Yeah, I'm eager to try it out. And Lewis saying he's got to take off. Take care, Lewis. And everybody's saying goodbye to Lewis. And Kenny was saying, I never had a rust issue with any of my brushes that would be bad, very, very bad. Yes, I agree. And so I'm glad that nothing did rust. I was kind of concerned about that. Kenny saying goodbye to Lewis. And Dirk saying, needle juice, what you talking about, Willis? So needle juice, not Beetlejuice, but needle juice is a lubricant that is essentially, and I've been told you can use, it's just like an oil that kind of keeps the needle so that in all the parts so that they flow smoothly. But I've been told if you use like a vegetable oil or any type of food grade cooking oil, it essentially has the same effect, but I'm afraid to try that because I don't want oil in my paint. And I hope I didn't just bend my needle. I need to not demonstrate stuff with my needle. But yeah, let's see, Mark is saying I have used it in the past. It is from Badger. Yeah, it is the Badger needle juice. Just everybody confirming what I just said. Dirk was saying if you count sheep, the population is over 1 million. I don't know, not quite. If we also count cattle and pigs, indeed. So, all right. So I'm going to grab my Medea super clean, whatever you want to call it. This is the fast-acting, odorless, environmentally friendly. And basically what I do when I'm doing mine is I'll just kind of get everything good and saturated. Probably don't need to do these parts, but I do because I'm weird. And then just pour a little bit down here. And it's basically all I really need to do. I like to get a little bit on there. And then I'll dump some down my brush. Which is probably entirely unnecessary, but I do like to at least, it gives me some peace of mind, I guess you could say. And then for the Talon, things are usually fairly easy to assemble. So I'll just throw the spring on there. And then here's where I need some of that Burt's Bees is typically what I'll use. And we've got an open one here. So again, just the Burt's Bees Beeswax lip balm. And John Paul actually is the one that kind of recommended this in the first place. And so I just put it's worked. It seems like it's worked fairly well. I probably put on way more than I actually need. And the nice thing is when you're cleaning your brush, the beeswax just comes off really easily. Make sure I'm on my button there. And this is the part that I always worry about not being tight enough. And then what I'll do here just make sure it's here. And then I'll finish tightening her down. And see, like, this is the part I'm confused about because so many people say, just make this finger tight. But I feel like that's what I've been doing, and it's not tight enough. So this is probably a huge no-no, but I'll just kind of give it a little bit of a turn with my pliers. And See again on this section, more of the beeswax, because this is the part that I always feel like this could leak too. The one thing that I learned the hard way, and I'm sure many of you that have been airbrushing for years and years and years, is how easy it is to cross thread or strip the threads on these tips. So that was I kind of learned that the hard way on the first one that I had, the first 0.2 needle, and I thought I wasn't, I thought I was being careful, and I wasn't really over tightening it or anything, but as it turned out, I had stripped it out. And so now what I do, I don't like this tool, and I've been told not to use this, but I don't have one of those cool guy tools that everybody else has. So I just barely tighten it down because I'm so afraid of over tightening that. Now that after that one time where I totally ruined it. And I'll put a little bit more on here. This I don't think is totally necessary, but I do it anyway because, you're going to do something, might as well overdo it, right? And then clean this up here. And the other thing is that Burt's Bees makes your airbrush smell good. It's kind of got that Burt's Bees smell to it. And then I don't know, like everybody has different recommendations for installing your needle. And I was told to do it this way. And then I make sure it's down all the way, and then take your little threaded guy here. So this is where I ask you guys, if you see that I'm doing something wrong, let me know, because again, I'm new to airbrushing, total noob at this, and I would much appreciate some advice, because anything to make airbrushing a little more simplified and less stressful is definitely huge for me, because I do listen to your guys' advice. So there we go. So now I've got my airbrush all back together and ready to go. And so that is the Posh Talon, and very, very happy with this airbrush so far. And I do know that as I progress in the whole airbrushing world, I'll definitely try out some different airbrushes down the road, and maybe learn a thing or two and get better. The nice thing about this one that I've noticed is the control on it. You can do, if you're getting the flow correctly, you can actually do some really nice, very fine work with it. And you can also open it up and go to town and get a really good overspray if you're priming or doing things like that. And so just learning that control has been the hard part for me. And I've done a lot of practicing and stuff, which I should probably do more of, but most of us, I think our least favorite part of airbrushing is cleaning the brush. So, and I do fall into that category sometimes. So there we go. That is all ready to rock and roll. So later today, I can actually get some airbrushing done and put this guy away. And I'll head back over to the chat and see what everybody's up to. So let's scroll up here. Eric's in the house. Hi, Eric. How's it going? I'm going to flip over to this camera. And pop up here. Where did we leave off? Dirk was saying, joking aside, I clean my airbrush after every use. That's why I don't use it that often. And every other cleaning, I use ultrasonic cleaner. I then lube my seals and threads with WD-40. Really? So, okay. That's interesting. It doesn't get into your paint. Needle juice, beetle juice. And Eric saying, hi, Kalan and crew. How's it going, Eric? Thanks for stopping in. And Dirk is saying, Iceland equals carnivore heaven. Yum, yum. For the needle juice and beetle juice, don't say it 3 times. And Mark saying hi to Eric. And Top is saying he'll just show up at Kalen's house. Beetlejuice. Look, Eric showed up. Hey, Eric. And let's see here. Kenny was saying, curious, I've never used Teflon or beeswax and never had an air leak at the tip. I just hand tighten. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, Kenny. I don't know if it's me or the airbrush. I'm assuming it's me. Usually that's the case. Mark was saying, same here, Kenny, and wonder how that started. Mine had a leak at the tip. Turned out nozzle was slightly loose. Had to use the little wrench that came with the brush. So, yeah, are you talking about that inner tip? Because I do know that if that's loose, it can create an issue. And Top is saying, wait, what? Cool guy tool? I would think the little wrench would be okay. So what I've heard, and I can't remember the name of his channel. I think it's Miniac. Miniac was saying that wrench tends to, you have the tendency to over tighten it. Actually, it was either Miniac or it was RW Hobbies, Richie from RW Hobbies, because there's a tool that they sell that it's kind of almost like a screwdriver, but it's got that open hole or whatever, and it kind of prevents you from over tightening it. Whereas with the wrench, it's real easy to wrench on it too much, no pun intended, and over tighten it. So that's kind of what I've just heard, and I know I did that one time. I torqued on it too much, and he said with that special tool that they sell at Spray Gunner, you could also buy it at other places as well, but that tool has kind of prevented that from happening when he's been using it. Dirk was saying WD-40, the thread should prevent that issue. My Badger is now going on 13 years. Nice. And Kenny was saying Badgers last forever, pretty much. That's good to know. Dirk saying, if we see you doing something wrong, we will point and laugh and talk about it with many memes on Discord. Well, thank you. I do appreciate it. I have a few and they're still going strong. Nice. Top is saying, I'm going to give up on airbrushing and just dip my parts from now on. You could just, if you could figure out a way to powder coat and bake plastic parts without damaging them, that would be the best way to go. Which Badger would be a good match with the Posh? That's a good question. Kenny said Badger Chrome. So the Badger Chrome, I'll have to check out the Badger line and see. In fact, let's head over there right now. Badger Airbrush. And I'll take you guys with me. So Go to Badger Airbrush, and let's look up the Badger Chrome. How do you search for stuff on their website? Products, airbrushes. So there's no Badger Chrome, Kenny. They're all old. I wonder, so the Badger 400, I wonder why they discontinued that. I've heard about the Patriot series actually, and I've heard Patriot's not a bad airbrush. So that's definitely one that I actually have heard of. I wonder what the Crescent. Oh, that's ugly. So I wouldn't buy it because it's ugly, even if it was the best airbrush on the market. Siphon feed. That's another thing. So, how many of you actually like the siphon feed versus the top feed? There's also a few that are kind of offset. So then the cup's not in your way when you're looking down your airbrush and spraying, which I don't know why that's a thing. Maybe for people that do really good detail work or something. I don't know. But when I airbrush, I'm not looking straight down my airbrush. Maybe I should be. 200 looks interesting. Anyways, yeah. So, Dirk, I have a brand new Aztec that has been sitting in its wood box, never used it. It's close to 10 years old. Such a waste on my part for not using it. And Kenny saying he loves the Patriot 105. Go back to the other camera. And Ian, hi, Kalan. Ian saying, hi, Kalan. What did I miss? You missed me putting the, so I had left my airbrush full of paint over New Year's, and I didn't catch it for about a month later, but thankfully I didn't ruin it. But I basically had it pulled apart and soaking for a while just to be safe. And I just cleaned it up and put it back together. So you didn't miss much. Again, this is the Posh Talon for those of you interested. And one of these days, I will do a more detailed full review on this airbrush on the channel, just because I do have some people asking. And a couple of people were interested in the package that I bought. And you know what? For the price that I paid, I would highly, highly recommend it. And I think the Posh Talon for a newbie to airbrushing like myself was a good choice, just because it can handle the wear and tear. I wouldn't go out and buy a very expensive airbrush for your first one. Definitely don't do that because you don't want to ruin it if you do something stupid like I did and leave paint in it for a month. But yeah, so anyways, hi Ian. It's always good to see you. Thank you so much for popping in. And Mark was saying, I agree, Kenny. That's my go-to brush. Ian, if you're still in here, put in the chat what your favorite go-to airbrush is. Just because it's always cool to hear, because there's brands that I've never even heard of that I have been popping up, and so it's like I would like to get a new higher quality airbrush. Not that the Posh Talon isn't high quality. I think it's kind of middle ground, if I was going to say. But yeah, the Harder and Steinbeck, is that what they're called? I've been hearing a lot of things about them that are really good, and then Iwata as well. And my hobby shop, the lady that up in Portland at Hobbies Unlimited, Stacy, she's offered to send me a trial of one of the Iwatas, and it's kind of a mid grade. It's about similar to the posh Talon. So I don't know. I might be testing one of those out. Kenny was saying, I have a Sotar 2020, thanks Shu, a Chrome Crescendo, and a Patriot. So yeah, it doesn't look like they have the Crescendo anymore, or the Chrome anymore. I wonder why they discontinued it. Mark has a Renegade and a 2020. Nice. Are you sure it's an air leak at the top or a clog? Oh. Trying to figure out what he's referring to. At least on the Badger, there is a channel built into the body. When what happened to you happened to me, it was because that passage was clogged. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. What sucks is it's so hard to see inside of it. I think if you could take the cup off, which the cup on this Talon doesn't come off, you would be able to get a better look inside of it. And unfortunately, you can't really do that because that cup is permanently attached. And honestly, that cup is huge. Would be nice to, so on my next airbrush that I get, I want to get one that has the smaller and larger interchangeable cups. It was a leak blowback outside of the brush itself, not paint, just air. And food dehydrator, you can bake your plastic. That's true. So true. You can bake your plastic kits. So that'll end up getting the paint to adhere better in the long run anyway. Top was saying the problem with the Aztec is the funky size air hose. I have an unused by me secondhand Aztec as well. That's interesting. So do you guys that are watching, do you guys use the quick disconnects on yours? Again, it's one of those things where I don't know if you have to buy a hose that already has the other end of the quick disconnect already attached, but I've been having trouble finding a kit or a set that will have both the quick disconnect for the end of the hose and for the end of this. I only find one or the other, or most of the ones that just attach here but not to the hose. And that's, I would love to get a quick disconnect. And then I have actually have a splitter that I bought because I have another airbrush that my dad sent me, but it's a single action, and it's, to be honest, it is, so it's a siphon feed, and it's one of those super cheap, what is that cheap tool place, Harbor Freight. So it's a Harbor Freight and it's super cheap, but I was thinking if I can get this one, get the right hose for it and get it working, I could use this for priming. Mostly just because I don't need that double action. I can probably get away priming with the single action. I don't know. Maybe use this for some projects. I don't know. Anyhow, she was saying I got an Aztec kit and used that for a bit before I moved to Badger. And that's, Dirk was saying that's the exact reason I haven't used it. The airline won't connect to my compressor. I'm too lazy to make it fit. That is one of the tricky things that I have noticed. It's like trying to get the right, because not all airbrush brands connectors are the same, and you can go and buy a hose that you think is going to be the right size, and it's not, and then you need to get an adapter for it, and it can create a headache. And so Spray Gunner, actually, most of the time when they're actually in stock, they do have a lot of those different adapters, which is really nice. Dirk was saying what I liked about the Aztec was the quick change. Nice. Harder and Steenbeck is the god airbrushes that I will get one day. So Kenny, if you follow Harder and Steenbeck on. You can follow them on Twitter, but I think on Instagram is where they almost every month or every other month they do a giveaway. And you're competing with hundreds and thousands of other people, but you never know, you might end up winning one. So I just discovered that actually about 2 weeks ago, and so I've been I'll keep an eye on their stream or their updates and stuff on Instagram, and then whenever I see that they're doing the giveaway, I'll put my name in the hat and check it out and see if I win. But so far I haven't, but you never know. So one of these days I might be lucky to buy one. Very expensive too. Yeah. They're like the Rolls Royce of airbrushes. You don't use quick disconnects. Okay. Mark was saying I have them on all of his. They are great. See, I think so far it hasn't been a big issue because I put a valve on my compressor right before the air hose. So all I have to do is just reach around my paint booth and just turn the valve and then bleed the air off of the gun, and then I can just disconnect it. The only thing that I feel that would really benefit having that quick disconnect is then I wouldn't really have to do that. I just pop it off, and for the most part, while I'm cleaning it, I keep it connected just so I can get a little bit of air through there, which may be a bad thing to do. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I've been doing. But then also there have been times where I've forgotten to turn off the air and I've unscrewed it and then had to just reach over and turn the air off real fast. So it wasn't too big of a deal, but I just kind of like the idea of the quick disconnect. Top is saying the Aztec was unique in that you only had to clean the nozzle. Paint never went into the brush. That's good to know, but the tips were out really fast. Why? So here's my question is, I've heard people talk about that, and they actually sell a needle. It's kind of almost like a needle sharpener, and I wouldn't trust that because I think you don't want to really be losing too much of the that length. And so I've always wondered about that, why needles wear out. And I know the big thing is like, because I've doing this earlier where I just slammed it into the paper towel, could have bent the tip. And I've also done it where some people have dropped them, and I've had the needle or the gun itself, and I went and I smacked the side of my work table with it, and so I could see that. But then after that, it's probably not salvageable. But then a lot of people have said that they kind of grind them down with this it's like a $40 tool, and I don't understand that, because to me then you're taking some of that real estate away that you need for the actual needle. But I guess it's long enough that maybe you can do that. I don't know. Anyways, you may need to look at the manufacturer for that part. Yeah. So, well, that is, it's about an hour and a half. Well, if not including the time I forgot to hit go live, but it's about 11:30, and I'm going to head off here and let you guys carry on with your day. Thank you so very much for joining me today. It's something I needed to do anyway, so I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do on the live stream. And I do appreciate the banter that goes on, because I always learn something new from each and every one of you, and I always appreciate learning new things. So thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you guys next time.